My name is Deanna Chaplin. I'm a marriage, family, and child therapist. And what I would like to do is today talk to you about the state-of-the-art techniques to remove traumas, to desensitize traumas. You know, traumas that came about from maybe post-traumatic stress disorder from war, or traumas from past abuse, many different venues that goes into trauma. Whatever that may be, with EMDR is a technique where we can desensitize that and give you your freedom back again. You know, so a typical session of EMDR would be, the very first session would be a history-taking session. So I know how to comfort you, I know how to understand the whole dynamic and how to take care of you through the whole EMDR session. Secondly, the second session, what we'll do is we'll have you identify a frame. If your whole experience was on a reel, we would identify a frame that gives you the most symptomologies. From 0 to 10, it would be 0, no symptoms, 10 is the worst symptoms. The one that gives you the most pounding heart, trembling, nausea, nightmares, whatever that negativity may be, we identify one that's close to 10. But we also know when someone is traumatized, over a period of time, they have a negative message. They actually internalize a negative message about themselves. It may be, I'm not intelligent, I'm not beautiful, I'm not social, whatever that negative message is, we identify that message from 0 to 10 and rate it from 0 to 10. And then what we want to do is that once we extracted that message, once we desensitize that message, we want to give you a present. We want to give you a positive message in place of that negative message that you would like. It may be that I am a fully functional person, that I'm a fantastic learner. I am wonderfly social. I smile and enjoy life. Whatever that positive, there'll be many different sentences. You'll just choose a sentence that is most meaningful to you. And then from 0, where you don't believe it at all, to 7, it's most believable to you. So you may begin at 0, and after we install that message, we install it all the way to where it's a 7. Yeah, I really believe that message is really real for me. So those are the 3 stages of EMDR. So let's go back to the first stage. So the first stage is you're focusing, remember, on that frame that is the worst frame for you. And as you are focusing on that frame, then I could manually do several different techniques. And there's manual techniques and there's some high-tech techniques. So the manual technique, that would be while you're focusing on that, then your eyeballs only will look to my hand. We can go back and forth, back and forth. Or there may be a tapping back and forth on the hand or the shoulders, whatever is comfortable for you, because it's really important that you're comfortable through the whole session and feel very comforted through the whole session. The high-tech way, there's a bar, and a light will actually flash on the bar. And so what you're doing is your eyes is moving pretty much what I'm doing with the hand. Your eyes will do exactly the same thing, but it's looking at a bar, light moving back and forth, and you're following that light back and forth, back and forth. There could be headphones where there's a pinging that's going back and forth, back and forth. So whatever the technology or the manual entrance for that, one of the things that you will realize that is really occurring inside of your brain, if I were to give you a little caricature of what's happening inside your brain, when you were traumatized, the experience came in at such high intensity, it was literally dislodged away from your processing center, okay? So what we're doing is that by your brain actually goes from dysfunction to function all on its own. So when you're focusing on that negative frame that we talked about, and we're doing the manual techniques back and forth, your brain actually, this ion, let's say, is moving closer and closer to where your brain grabs it, processes it, puts everything back into its place. And so what is happening to you inside, you're saying, with a rather short period of time is, well, I remember the experience, but it's not as intense to me. The symptoms are not as high. And after a few different people need maybe session, 2 sessions, it's up to the brain itself. Each person is an individual. But what really is pretty closely consistent with most people is that what used to be a horrifying experience that begins from, a 10, that experience is desensitized to a 0, minimally a 1. Yes, there's individuality and there's differences in people, and we can't say one technique works for 100% of the people. Nothing ever does. But for most people, they have freedom for the first time in their life. They can have their time with their children, they can have their time with their friends, and they don't have to feel that hardness in their body. They are free. And that's what I'm all about, and that's what EMDR is all about. It's giving you your life and your freedom back. Thank you for your time, and until we meet again.